Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
Next week is our fundraiser. We have a psychic. Just tarot reading. Okay. Oh, I guess we're on. Is that what you're telling us? Wow. I missed our entree, our fabulous lady. Sorry, folks. Apologies. Having such a wonderful conversation with our guest, who we're going to introduce in a moment. But let me give you the usual welcome. Welcome to New Orleans Talk Network. It's Bob's Variety Hour, Wednesday morning. And I know we've been under a lot of tension here. Last week, the poor problems with Houston have kind of replicated ours and maybe exceed ours with the hurricanes. And now, we're halfway through the week and we got to worry about another one that could be even more devastating. So once again, we're hoping our little show will bring some light to you in this dark days, if you want to call it light. Hopefully it's not. We're all praying and hoping that, unfortunately, other folk will sustain and weather the hurricane. Not if they sustain. Anyway, so we're still going to keep up with our show to try and bring Hump Day to everyone and put a little smile, or at least, if we can't bring a smile, at least be informed and educated about something other than what's constantly being on the screen or the radio that's constantly dwelling in your mind, to give you a little respite, so to speak, and that's what we're here for. As you know, we're here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. If you want to call in, always, we have a phone number, 504-341-8255, 341-TALK. You're watching us on YouTube as well as the New Orleans Talk Network on laptop, PC, smart app. We're accessible almost everywhere. And even though this week is normally not a week that we specialize in anything, something dear to my heart, for those who know me, has always been food. That's why my belly is so big. And that's why I had a restaurant show, which may or may not return. But anyway, so I'm still always a foodie, or whatever you want to call it, from the perspective of eating. Not so much cooking, but certainly in eating, and especially from restaurants as opposed to just a neighbor or a friend or a relative. Whenever there's any kind of specialty happening in New Orleans about food, I'm usually very, very interested. And I've been privileged to be invited to this event previously. I missed last year, but I think the year before. And this is, it's called the Farm and Table Conference. Now, for those who are not familiar with the food business or don't know what that whole movement is it's basically bringing restaurants or chefs or really home cooking directly to the source. In other words, it's not the restaurant buying from one provider, a lot of frozen things, some from all around the world. I mean, some things we don't have locally, that's true. But a good bunch of our produce, especially vegetables and stuff like that, and even meats, can be provided from a local farmer. Now, sure, it's not necessarily an individual farmer, even though that's many times the case. But it's a ranch or it's something nearby that you can access the produce either daily, etc. So you don't even perhaps need the amount of freezing or refrigeration that they used to have in a restaurant. But the key there is more the freshness and the quality of the product, where the chef and the owner, whatever, and the general manager are much more involved in the selection. It's not just an order sheet, well, I need 10 tons of broccoli or something like that. They know exactly what they want, and they know how to select what they want. And hopefully this co-op or this relationship is developing great pricing as well. Might be a little bit more than buying it at the big box, but the same thing, the quality and the freshness and the idea of supporting your local businesses. That's what we're all about. You know that, from not just New Orleans, around the nation. That's more and more, we are a nation of small businesses. It's no longer, even though we still have these mega corporations, that is not the answer to our problems, especially when you're talking about food. The fast food genre, I concede. But the individual mom and pop shop or restaurant or whatever you want to call it, kitchen or poor boy shop, that is the multitude of businesses, especially here in New Orleans, where we don't have access to these major industries other than our port and tourism. And tourism is naturally intertwined with the food culture. So going on this week is the Farm and Table Conference, and I'll be attending them. I'm fortunate again, thanks to the folks here and at the convention center inviting me, and I'll be there all day Friday. I wish our show was on Friday so we could maybe cover it more lively for you, but at the same time, I think we brought not only a wonderful and talented guest to tell us about it, but more importantly, the relatively new aspect of it that I haven't even had a chance to participate in, and that's called the Chef's Challenge, if I can get that alliteration out, where, as you know, for anyone who follows food, whether it's just from the appetite or from the whole concept, that the media has become inundated with food-type shows, and usually in a competitive standpoint. So starting with years ago with MasterChef, Top Chef. Now there's every variation of chef you can deal with to get these individuals more recognized. So whether or not they will have a brick and mortar, the important thing is the chefs can be known. You can enjoy their food, if not directly, at least visually, and see how talented he or she is. So the competition here, and I'm not going to spoil the ladies' thunder, but basically is a competition of chefs. And, of course, the fortunate people are the attendees, and that's what we're here to tell you about and give you the opportunity before it's too late to participate and sample some, if not all of them. I think you get a chance to sample each of the dishes by the finalists. So you're in there part of it. I'm not sure if you're part of the judging. We'll find that out as well as we discuss with this young lady. But without further ado, let me go ahead and bring our guest who's directly responsible for this third-year event for the Chef's Challenge, which is what we're going to primarily focus on as opposed to just the Farm and Table Conference. The Chef's Challenge is a subset of the Farm and Table Conference. We have the delightful Mrs. Samantha Oza. Samantha, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you for bearing with my long-winded self, but I wanted to get a little bit of information out there for people who have never heard of it, and even though, it's right now, the Farm and Table is about how old?
So the overall Farm and Table, what we've done is this will be its 6th year.
6th year, okay.
It, so.
Whereas Chef Challenge is half that. You said around 3.
Yeah, 3 years. It's our 3rd year.
Okay,
around.
So it's still new. I mean,
correct.
6 years is good in your lifetime. It seems it's probably an eternity because of your direct involvement.
Sure.
But to the ordinary populace, and that's why we're trying to get as much exposure. She's been doing this. She's doing the media tour. Yesterday, she was on our local channel Fox affiliate. Tomorrow she's on the CBS affiliate morning show. So watch for her again there, because in both of those are doing something that we don't do, and that they're bringing on a chef to create one of their dishes, again, for you to visually see their talent while the people there get a chance to taste it. Now, even though we can't do that, we're giving the in-depth, where they're there 5, 10, 15 minutes at the most. We're giving a whole hour less than a few commercials. So this way we can really talk about specifics and get a little bit more detail than the superficial treatment that you would get on a typical TV channel, which I'm not knocking because, that's my roots. Anyway, why don't we first talk a little bit about yourself, though, because then we always like to know the background of our guest. And I understand you're not a native, and which is so common today, but at the same time, you've accepted us, and we've accepted you. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure. So I'm originally from Arkansas, born and raised there. I graduated with a master's there at a local college, and essentially about later of 2010, my mom was already down here, and she just said, come out. New Orleans is definitely a bigger market than Central Arkansas, and she just said, come and try it out, see what opportunities that might present itself. So I did. I kind of took that life chance, and a few years later, here I am at the convention center. I've been there for about 2.5 years, and
as always happens, she found a native to marry. Isn't that coincidental? That seems to happen so much.
I feel like I've earned my New Orleans stripes, though. So I've gone through some of the typical New Orleans, what they do here. So.
And she has been a real trooper. You know, many times we conduct, when it's far-reaching, our guests either by Skype or telephone. But, of course, our preference is anyone on the East or West Bank to come over our big bridge to the West Bank. And this trooper, she lives on the North Shore, so you know she had a ride, huh, to get here. And at this time, now she has to do it every day anyway for the convention center, but, of course, at the same time, we're adding extra, and not only that, requiring her to come early so we could be ready and all for the beginning of the show. Anything else about yourself? Well, your specific role with the organization and the event.
So I am actually the conference manager for not only Chef's Taste Challenge, but the Convention Center produces another show. It's an international disaster conference, and I'm the conference manager for that show. My coworker Claire, she is over the whole Farm and Table conference portion. So we tag team Farm and Table.
I see. But basically, y'all do for the most part the same work. Is
correct.
That right? It's just specializing because of the two subset of the common.
That's correct.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. And we have our good friend who we always love to recognize, Rose Mort, who's been with the Convention Center. We were just trying to figure it out because she's a fixture there, and we know she was at least Katrina. We can't pinpoint how far from Katrina, and she's been a friend for many years, and been a real delight to work with, as well as she used to come to our dinner clubs when I had the TV show, so a really delightful person. So when I asked the other day, and this week was kind of up in the on, because last week, at the last minute, we had to cancel our normal show, which I had a chef coming on from Dallas.
Oh, wow.
And I was really sad for him and me because I was looking forward to it.
Sure.
But he had the approaching Harvey, even though we didn't know how far it was going to go, and we had it as well. We had the terrible. So again, these things are judgment calls. So the station had shut down on Tuesday, and we couldn't do our Wednesday show. So once again, we were kind of on that same balance this weekend when we heard that, hey, we're finished at Harvey, but we got this other one coming next weekend. And so how soon was it going to come, et cetera. But anyway, so to be able to get a last-minute guest on short notice, especially for not a regular scheduled guest show, is a real treat, and that's why we want to give our thanks to Rose, because she was very instrumental in hooking me up with Samantha so we could present this, because it's only natural since I'm going to it, and we wanted to get it as close as possible, which is perfect, because it's only a couple of days before, so it'll be fresh in your mind, and if we can tempt you to go and attend, you'll probably be a repeat visit, because I think you'll find it very, very worthwhile.
Yes,
all right,
let's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said we hope so.
I'm sure.
Love to have everybody back.
Specifically, the Chef's Challenge is this Friday as well, but only Friday, and it's Friday evening. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's from what time to what time about?
So registration will open up at 6. VIP doors open up at 6:30, and then general admission at 7. But for that hour in between 6 and 7, we have a wine reception, and it's complimentary wine. Comes with your ticket price, and it's basically an all-you-can-drink wine reception.
Okay, so you all tickets are bought just at the door. There's no advance registration, or
You can purchase your tickets in advance, or you can purchase them at the door. You can go on our website, chefstastechallenge.com.
Chef's
Taste Challenge.
Yeah. Sometimes we blurt it out, and the poor person say, "Well,
So
what
I know.
Yeah.
Runs together.
So 3 words: Chef's Taste Challenge, all one word, .com.
.com.
Okay, so you can find out obviously more information. And Mike, our staff, is putting up some pictures for you of some of the information that we're going to talk about soon, the chefs, and he'll be interspersing the whole show with different photos from perhaps last year's similar challenge until we get to specifically talk about the individuals and the specifics of today's show, of today's topic. Anyway, so the big deal is you can now, is there a difference in fee if someone is it a lesser fee if they reserve online, or is it the same fee regardless when they?
So so we actually have single foodie tickets at $99.
Okay,
and
now,
then
what does that? Let's go over each one if you don't mind quickly. We know we got to take a break soon. Single ticket, and would entitle them to what?
The complimentary wine reception
which
before.
we just mentioned, right?
And then you get 10 dishes one from each chef.
One from it. So each of the chefs prepare a dish.
And then a wine pairing with each dish.
Also, they get a
Yeah,
complimentary wine
inside with
each
each dish. Yes.
With 10 dishes?
Yes.
You're getting them tickets? I mean,
Well, wine, and more wine.
You're doing breathalysis
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
wow.
Well, on top of that, we also have a complimentary beer bar sponsored by Lazy Magnolia.
So they can have wine and beer?
Yes,
Or
yes.
I don't like the sound of this.
It makes for a very fun event. So
The only thing is that perhaps these people who shouldn't be part of the judging, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and before we go any further, and then we'll pick up again at the end the specifics on tickets. But we'd like to go ahead and get our first break out the way, and then, when we come back, we do our raffle. It's very limited, but we hadn't shown anything yet, so we have to show today's raffle and give you instructions how to participate, and then we'll come back and speak more to Samantha and start getting into the overview of exactly what happens during the Chef's Challenge. So catch us on the inside. Enjoy these lovely commercials.
Hall to live stream your next event, give us a call here at Bethesda Community Event Center, the only place on a golf course that can host and broadcast live your wedding reception, your baby shower, business seminar, and any other special event. Give us a call at 504-708-9454 for more details.
There's soul food, and then there's food for the soul. At a time where we live to eat, the Praline Connection restaurant serves up recipes that reach back into days long gone. The kind of meals your mama cooked up for Sunday dinner. Fried chicken with macaroni and cheese and candied yams, homemade meatloaf with garlic mashed potatoes and string beans, or Nolan's filet gumbo. That's the real soul you get only at the Praline Connection restaurant, located at the Kona, Charters and Frenchman Street in the Marinade.
This is Remus Bowman. I want to invite you every Monday at 12 o'clock live for You and Your Credit. You can call in, you can ask me questions. Believe me, I've got most of the answers for you. We're going to help you get a good credit score. We're going to open doors for you to have an opportunity to be successful and pay low interest for your automobile, your home, your credit cards, everything that you buy. We're going to put you on a great path to have a successful future. Send me your request for information. I'll be glad to answer your question. Every Monday at 12 o'clock, join me from 12 to 1 Monday afternoon for You and Your Credit, originating from New Orleans Talk Network.
Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
Well, welcome back. Remember, there's that pretty lady who tells us, she tells you to listen to New Orleans Talk Network, and I tell you to watch New Orleans Talk Network. Now, we do have some shows, as you know, that, well, Bob, it's not 24-hour TV. No, it's not. We do still do a lot of feeds from other stations or networks, syndications, and those, for the most part, you don't see live, okay? But we have, I think, 16 shows right now during the weekday, and they all are live, and all of those you can watch live. So as long as you put us on in time for a live show, you're going to see our pretty and ugly monikers, you know? And that's the key here. All right, we don't want to waste too much time because we've got such a wonderful guest here giving us such valuable information. But it's time for the raffle. You know, our weekly raffle for those who's first timers. Every week we give away something of real value. Sometimes it's smaller value, lesser value, but and we try and mix it up. Something for everybody. You know, we've had jazz tickets, which is of course always appreciated by most. We've had art. We've had hats. We've done all kind of things. And so today it was kind of last minute, so I didn't have a lot of chance because we were in between these two hurricanes to see what we were going to do. But we decided on something that would be, it definitely leans toward the feminine, although collectors, there could be collectors that doesn't have to be necessarily feminine. But these are hand-decorated eggs. Mike's going to put up some pictures. I'm going to show you one by one each one. And basically what eggs are eggs, and they have some lovely decorations of irises, which happens to be one of my favorite flowers. And one of them is if you can see this, like I said, it's small, so I hope Mike gets the picture. It's a single iris, lavender, I guess is that shade, bloom. Notice each one has again, you may not see it, but a little brass hanger. Samantha and I was talking before they came on, and I said, I don't think it's for earrings. They would kind of pull down your lobe. But she said it must be like maybe an ornament. You could put it on, because today, I mean, we have some people who keep their Christmas trees all year round, and they change it for Mardi Gras, which are drumming, they change it for Easter.
That's true.
And there's a bunch of eggs, and usually they put just those plastic eggs, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, who cares? But what I'm saying, you can decorate something, or you can just collect. Some people can collect it. So we have a pair. They're not identical, as much it makes to me more interesting. The other one has a double foliage, and hey, watch me break it. And it's actually a more purple iris, but once again has the hanger. And again, they're small. They're only how many inches that is. But there you go. There's a close-up Michael's giving you of the eggs. You can see them a little better than probably what I'm showing. So he'll keep doing that. So if you're interested, or, you know, maybe your mom, I guess this would have been better given out like at Mother's Day or something. But anyway, it's just something because of shortness of time, and hopefully someone will find something to do with it. Let's go with the registration thing. Remember, what's good about here, it's a simple one-time registration. You don't have to call up and be the 8th caller. It's not, you know, your name's not lost after the first auction, after the first win, anything like that. What you need to do is you see on the screen that beautiful email address, kind of difficult to remember, Bob, the easy part, at rreview.com. Now, that's the trickiest part. It's 2 R's. It's not a typo. It's not a list, not a list with a stutter. RREVUE, and it's the improper spelling of review. Stands for Restaurant Review, the name of the show, of my TV show.com. So if you emailed me, or go on NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com website. There's a box for you to do this. You have to provide just 3 pieces of information: your full name, your email address, so we can contact you, and your zip code, so we know what area you. And again, you do not have to be in the New Orleans area, since this is an international network. You know, we get some people from Canada and other places that apply, that have registered. So that's great. The more, the merrier. All you do is you do that once, you're in every raffle from then, and then we will call you. Now, of course, you might think that sometimes people say, oh, I don't want that. It's not $1 million or whatever, so they don't want the thing. So what we do is we try it one more time, and if not, then we just pull the name of the hat. I don't know, because we do a random pick every week with software, but we eventually give it to someone, and I don't really know how we do that, deserving, et cetera, if nobody wants it in the actual official draw. But put your name in anyway, whether you like this or not, because there's bound to be some stuff you'll see because of the variety, just like the Variety Hour. There's going to be one week you'll probably find something you like, and hopefully it'll be that week you win. Okay, so to do that, we'll announce the winner, as you know, next week and put them on Facebook as well as debut them here on the show. Now, we want to get back to our lovely guest, Mrs. Samantha Ozer, who's in charge of conference manager of the Farm and Table, but specifically we're talking about the Chef's Challenge, which occurs this Friday, September the 8th, in the evening. She's going to give us those details. So let's talk about the overview. Let's briefly mention about the conference itself and what goes on there, and then home in on the challenge. Okay?
Sure. So Friday, starting registration will open up at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and then the conference will start at 9 a.m.
And everything is in one site at the convention center.
Yep, near the Julia Street entrance in the Great Hall
Oh, the big
area.
hall. Okay,
Yep.
great, good.
So-
'Cause, yeah, that place is so big. If you start at one end, that's
Keep
the other
walking
end.
and walking.
You get your exercise for the week.
That's true. It's
So,
very true.
Anyway, so as early as 8 o'clock, you can register.
Yep, you can come and start registering. You can check in. And then 9 o'clock, basically, we just have a number of panels throughout the day.
Okay.
And
all of those are basically relating to the farm table concept. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have like USDA coming in. We have our Cooking Light ladies from Cookie Light Magazine coming in.
Oh, okay.
We have some chefs and farmers. There's a big, it's in the afternoon, a chef-farmer
Like a
relationship.
workshop or
Yeah, absolutely.
panel?
Kind of discussing the relationship and issues at hand. And just a broad number of culinary experts
Right.
that are coming to discuss and hopefully iron out some issues in the.
Well, I know I found it most informative 2 years ago when I went because the presentations were just, again, it was much earlier too with regard to the movement here in New Orleans. Not necessarily was around the nation. Some of the more advanced areas, of course, jumped into this much quicker than we did. But 2 years ago, we were early on in the program, so it was very informative because restaurants were trying to figure out, how can I do this? I've got enough work to do, with regard to running this. This seems like a lot of added work, to have to go and anyway. So all these parameters were addressed, I think, successfully at that conference, and obviously it's taken root because the customer, the consumer, is now, I won't say demanding it, but certainly assuming that most of this stuff is farm to table because they want that concept of freshness and they want that concept of supporting local business, not just through eating at the restaurant, but all the way to the source of the product. Okay? All right, go ahead. So that conference goes on from 9 till about what time?
4:30, I believe, is the end time. And
All right.
then we'll switch gears
Okay.
and go into Chef's Taste, which I mentioned, registration will open up at 6 and all doors will open up at 7.
Now, is that held, there's like a theater there. Is it held in that area or is that too small?
Nope. So that's the opposite end of the building. So the conference is still in the Great Hall.
Right.
And then the Chef's Taste is actually still in the Great Hall, just the next room over.
Next room
So,
over. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it moved over there.
Yeah.
All right.
Not too much walking between.
So that, let's go ahead and see. Is it 6, you said, or 6?
Yep. Registration will open up at 6. Doors will open up at 7.
7. Okay, and at 7 o'clock, you mentioned there's a complimentary wine.
6 to
Tasting
7.
or
Yep.
whatever.
Complimentary wine reception.
Okay, and is that a local beverage?
It's actually it's an organic winery out
Oh.
in California.
Wow.
Bonterra Organic Winery. So
Do we have anything nearby that's organic? I mean, I know we have a few wineries, but,
yeah,
I don't think we have anything organic, huh?
I think there's
Nearby.
yeah. I'm trying to. I don't know if like
put you on the
Pontchartrain
spot.
Vineyards or
Yeah.
Landry's or anything like that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I know those are local. I just don't know what makes it, organic. Whether they reach it.
Yeah, I'm sure the whole process.
So anyway, so they get a selection of whatever wines produced by that
Yeah.
winery. Is that
Yeah,
right?
they're shipping in.
And
a
that
whole
goes on
bunch.
for about an hour, a half hour. What?
Yep, the wine reception will go on for an hour.
Wow,
And then
great. That seems like
so
a
it's
long time.
a lot of wine.
Okay, so 8 o'clock. What happens then?
Yep, so the doors will open, and basically we have the chefs and all the stations lined up in a circle, and you just make your way through getting the dish the chef prepares, as well as your complimentary wine pairing with that dish.
So theoretically, they would be eating as early as 8 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Yeah.
7? I thought 7 to 8 is when the wine.
6 to 7 is the wine reception, and then...
I'm off, folks.
Yeah.
All right, 6 is registration, but immediately at the time of registration, there's
It's the
also the
wine
wine set. Okay.
That's
Now we get it.
correct.
So 7. Well, some people like myself used to. Ever since Katrina, I've learned to eat early, which is really a
Sure.
pain. Now I can't get back to eating late. So from 7 o'clock on, you'd be able to eat for 2 hours. Is that what it is, or just?
Yep, 2 hours.
So you just go, and there's no. Again, it's just you pick which one you. I mean, you can go to all 10, obviously, but you pick the order. You don't have to follow a certain program or anything like that.
Nope. We give you so the fans. I know we'll get into this later, but so the fans will get a voting card, and it has all the chefs listed out. So you can go in that order if you so choose, or you could go randomly. It's the choice is yours. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, unfortunately, folks, I don't want to tell you about my medical problems, but because of bad eyes and having a sty, I can't read what we are supposed to do right now. Is there something there we have to do?
Do you want to start showing the pics from last year?
Thank you, Samantha, and thank you, Mike. They're always helpful. Yes, let's show. Mike's going to put some pictures up from last year. And we're just going to cursory talk about those, just so you'll see what we're talking about, as opposed to just hearing what we're talking about. Want to comment on any of that?
Sure. So, so you see the two chefs,
right.
And that's actually they're behind their chef station.
So that's where they are, right behind the station.
Yep.
Okay.
You can see their little dishes there down below. That's actually Leonardo Morelli. He's out of Alabama. He competed last year.
So again, we're not just excuse me for interrupting, but some of the competition really pertains only to the native or the local nearby chefs. We extend an offer to beyond that, all the way anywhere in the United States. Is that our?
So this year we're actually focusing only on our southern region.
Okay.
So kind of from Texas, up to Florida, and then to Maryland in that little.
Good, but the idea is even though we're all biased or particular about seeing our chefs and meeting them, because we want to see them. At the same time, there's just as many, if not more, qualified chefs throughout the nation. So you get to see some of their, and especially their dishes, which may or may not be anything like what our local guys are going to do. And who knows, if you're adventurous enough, you might find out you like outside of New Orleans cooking. Yeah. What else? That looks like some plating there. So
some of these are dishes from last year. Actually, in the top right-hand corner, the shrimp that you see, that was our winning dish last year. Eric Cook, one of our locals.
Yes, Cook, I recognize. Is he affiliated with a restaurant? Or
I know he was at American Sector.
Yes, for a while, but he's gone.
Yeah, he's moved on elsewhere.
Okay, all right, well, good. Yeah. So a local one. So it's not favored in the idea of the other people as well. So it's
I think he had like fire and everything else going on his station. So maybe theatrics played into him winning. I don't know, but he had a lot going on.
Put out something to distinguish himself besides the dish. Is that right?
True. But it was good shrimp. So
anything else on these before we get back to our discussion of the conference?
So there you can kind of see again. There's another chef. He's from Boston. Talking with an attendee at a chef station. I don't know if you want to flip to the other picture that showcases our winners. You see Eric Cook there on the left. Leanne Wong is actually from Hawaii.
Wow, from Hawaii. Was she the farthest that we had last year?
She was from Honolulu. And then actually our fan favorite, Henry Chandler, out of Georgia, won, like I said, fan favorite. He's there on the right. I think
so. There's more than one award?
So there's 3 awards. Our judging panel will dictate our champion and our runner-up.
Okay.
And then I think, like I mentioned before, the fans actually get to vote. They get a voting card and stuff, and you get to choose.
Do they get it before all that alcohol? Or no?
Yes, they get the fan voting. We explain the fan voting card before they partake in drinking.
Yeah, because I can see where that would certainly influence and not necessarily rightfully. So there's a fan favorite.
Yes, there is a fan favorite.
Excellent. So there's 3 prizes. Great. Yes. Okay, well, let's get back to this year. I don't know. We scheduled for another break yet? If not, before we jump in, don't want to miss what he would say up there.
Sure.
Let's
see what he says.
Sorry for the delay, folks, but it's just my eyes are so bad today.
8:45.
8:45. Oh, good. We got 15 more minutes. All right. Now let's talk specifics about this year. Now we're going to actually start bringing up obviously, they open registration. It's not just, hey, we go pick which chef we want to come. They always, at this point, the selection criteria has been narrowed down to 10 finalists. Is that
Correct.
Right? What would you say, do you recall from the average from the first 3 years, number of registrants from chefs for the competition? Any idea?
Chefs attending?
Well, yeah, that actually, well, do they have to say they're attending when they register, or the registration?
Pretty much, yeah. When you register,
Okay,
that'll
well,
just
then
indicate.
let's go to that. So what I'm saying, of the population of people who are chefs who are registering, what do you think that total number is about?
I'd say it's
Average.
a good handful. I'd say 20 to 30%.
Okay.
That'd be my best educated
And we
guess.
get it colored down to 10.
Sure.
And as you mentioned, there's several criteria you mix, so it's not only our local chefs. We give additional credit, or whatever you want to call it, for different categories, so that way we'll get a blend of outside to inside, right?
Correct.
All right. If Mike will put up the 10 chefs finalists, we're going to go one by one over those, okay, and tell you who they are and where they're from.
Sure.
Well, let's see, where are we going to start at here on this? Can you see? Let's see. I like to start at the one with well, these are the four. We're going to do the first. Now, again, this is not in any order, so I don't believe it is, but certainly not in preference or anything like that.
No.
These are four of them. Let's start with the top, since it's top left.
Top
Yeah,
left, sure.
Yeah. Who is that gentleman?
So that is Alex Ballou. He is
Okay.
out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
He actually owns his own catering business.
Okay.
He's super. All the chefs are fantastic. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to talk to him for quite a few phone calls.
Now, do we get in any repeat registrants, or is it always new people registering?
Most of the time, it's new people that are applying to Chef's Taste.
But are they allowed to, like if they participated and didn't win, like one of our local chefs, would they be allowed to come to this year or next year or whatever?
Sure, they're allowed to
Register.
be put back in the pool of chefs, potential chefs.
candidates.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll certainly look over
good.
their application
Oh,
again.
good, because I mean, just because you lose doesn't mean
You're totally out. No, no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the upper right, if we could.
Sure.
And let's talk about that chef.
Yeah.
Now, do you know the name of the gentleman from Murfreesboro? You know his? No, it's a catering firm. you said.
It's actually Alex Ballou Catering.
And does he, to your knowledge, specialize in any type of genre of his food, or you don't have that information?
I don't know that off the top of my
Okay.
head. The
No
pictures
problem.
I've seen is
No
like
problem. No
Southern
problem.
cooking.
I mean, I'm taxing you, I know, but I come up with these taxing questions. But it'd be good to know, especially nowadays, we like to pigeonhole people. So if there were a category or two that he or she specializes in that type of cuisine, whether it's fusion or not,
Sure.
it's always good for the audience who knows when they're trying.
Sure.
Okay, let's go ahead and see that. We're talking about the upper right, folks, and let's see who is this person.
So that is Robert Butts.
Oh, my goodness. B-U-T-T-S?
B-U-T-T-S.
Wow.
He is out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. Hot Atlanta. Hot
Yes,
Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta.
ATL, the ATL.
Yes.
The 404,
Yes.
or whatever else they call themselves.
He is super fun. He loves to laugh. He laughs every time we get on the phone. But
that's
he
good.
is with Twisted Souls and Pours, I think it is.
Twisted souls and pours for like the beverage.
Yeah. So I don't. I'm assuming it's like Southern cooking.
Maybe
and
like
stuff.
Southern soul
Yeah.
food.
But yeah.
Interesting. Twisted Soul. What a name. Twisted Souls Man from Atlanta. Okay.
Yes.
Now let's go to the bottom two, and I don't mean in that order, but in the picture. Do the left first, continuing the same thing. Who do we have there?
All right. So we have Kaimana Chi.
Okay.
He is. He's a Hawaiian native.
So is he from Hawaii? or-
He's originally from Hawaii, but he's coming from Silver Springs, Maryland.
Wow, he went from one extreme to the other end of the year.
Coast to
Wow,
coast.
Silver Springs,
Yeah,
Maryland.
but he works out of Uncle's Hawaiian Grinds.
Wow. Uncle's Hawaiian
Hawaiian
grinds,
grinds,
like a
yeah.
coffee grind, maybe?
I think it's GRINDZ, I believe.
wow.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm assuming it's more of the Hawaiian flavors
so
and
it's
stuff like that.
Pokey love, what we all love
Correct,
nowadays,
yeah.
the big thing, pokey.
Yes.
Hawaiian pineapples, let's go.
Yes.
No, but that would be great. I'm sure it's excellent. You saw last year, the runner-up chef was Hawaiian.
She was Leanne Wong. Yes.
So fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right, the last person in this grouping?
All right, so then we have Jacob Curitan. He is a local. He's
Now,
in
I
New
know
Orleans.
him. I'm Facebook friends with him.
Nice.
I don't know how. Yeah, well, I do a lot of chefs friends, but anyway. Yes, go ahead.
He
Tell us
is,
about Jacob.
so he's local, and he's at a Chaffalaya restaurant.
Now, he just relatively moved there.
I believe so.
Yes.
That's great.
Chaffalaya, of course, for those who don't know, is on the East Bank, uptown where I live. It's, I think, in Louisiana. It's been one of the oldest stable restaurants in years, for years. I mean, it's gone through. We had one lady who owned it for most of the time. It kind of gone down, and it kind of got, just like everybody, some touched by Katrina. Fortunately, some new, and it's gone through several hands. This couple that have it now are a true delight. They've had it for several years, brought it all back. It's a beautiful new restaurant. I mean, it's totally renovated. The ceiling even lifted. Great on the outside, a giant black skillet on the side. So, I mean, not just painted 3D. So it's really an attract, very comfortable, wonderful little bar, great drinks, even though I don't drink them. And just great food, one of the best gumbos here in our city. And so they had a lovely chef, and I've forgotten her name, who just left earlier this year, I believe. And Jacob, and I've forgotten where Jacob was, but he was brought over, and he's doing phenomenally well. I haven't gotten a chance to go see him since he took over at Chaffalaya.
Yes.
But I'll be glad to, hopefully, maybe he'll be there when I'm there later on in the afternoon.
Well, now more of a reason to go to a Chaffalaya, right?
Yeah. Oh, please. If you want a recommendation on a consistent restaurant, now the problem is it's very crowded. Not so much.
Okay.
I mean, if you're available on the week, that's fine. But don't go. Don't even try. Like they have Sunday brunch. I mean, these things are just way out of hand.
Sure.
But they have a lovely. I think they have a little music sometimes on the evening cocktail hour.
Oh,
but they have a lovely night. But the food, if you go to just the food like I do, you're going to enjoy yourself every time.
Fantastic.
Okay, so that's my lead contender.
Okay.
Native and semi-native.
Yes.
All right, Michael, let's go on with the, I think you have 6 more to go, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Almost half
Now, how are we going to go here? We're going to start on the, go clockwise, starting with the left bottom?
Left
Do it that
bottom,
way, or
and
do you
then
want to
go up
or
and
do you want to go
around?
to the top? Let's go like we did, same as the first. Starting at the top left, going across, and then hitting the bottom 2 at left to right.
Sure.
So the first one up at the top left, folks.
So that is Eric Fulkerson.
Fulkerson, okay.
Yes, he is Cleveland, Tennessee.
Cleveland,
Cleveland, Tennessee, yes, not
I was about to
Ohio.
say Ohio. I don't know too many people in Ohio. She's from Cleveland. Cleveland, Tennessee. Do we even know where that is?
I
Anywhere near
want to
you?
say it's near Knoxville.
Knoxville?
I
Okay.
want to say that.
You want to
but
say that? Well,
it's-
please.
yeah.
If you want to say it, say it.
I might need a map.
So, and do we know the name of his?
Yes, he's
establishment?
at Bald Headed Bistro.
I wonder,
It's a funny restaurant's name.
yeah, especially it doesn't look like he qualifies. I wonder if it's only.
No,
Is that
he's
the
got
requi-
plenty of hair.
I wonder if that's a requirement for the dining guests.
I don't know. We'll have to ask
I don't know.
Eric.
That is really that could really be misconstrued.
Yes,
huh?
he's got
Okay.
a nice set of hair. So.
But anyway, so that's a place that most of us would never put together. Cleveland and Tennessee. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the person on the left of him.
All right, so we have Evelyn Garcia.
Lady, finally got a lady chef.
Yes,
Go
one of the
ahead.
ladies. She's actually out of Houston, Texas.
All right.
So she's been a little bit affected by Harvey right
thing,
now.
yeah.
But she actually does her
Well, that's
own
wonderful.
business.
She's able to, participate, even
Yeah.
if she wasn't directly affected. With everything going
Yeah.
on there, that she would still
So,
keep her in range. Of
exactly.
such
So the
great-
interesting about her, I spoke with her a few days ago. She is actually she's putting on this mission of Feed Houston. She's actually going to grocery stores when they're open, and even in the beginning, getting her own food from her house. And
I didn't even think about
Yes.
that poor thing.
I know.
She's got to really.
She is.
She got to get a
phenomenal.
couple of points for that.
Absolutely. Bonus points,
And
right?
does she have is she a catering or a restaurant?
Yep, she owns her home business, and it's called Pop-Ups by Evelyn.
Pop-ups.
Pop-ups, yeah.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very, all right. Number three on the top
All
left.
right, so we have another local, Alex Harrell
Oh, yeah.
from Angeline. And yeah,
Is it
he's-
Angelina or Angeline?
Angeline. I got the confirmed
You got it
answer.
confirmed.
I believe it's named after his mother.
It is
So-
his mother's name, but again, that can be pronounced. Most
Well, it's very
people,
true.
yeah,
Very true.
unfortunately, most people here would pronounce it Angeline. But I mean, since it's his mom's name, he would know.
Yeah.
And it's Angeline. Okay.
I think we were saying it both around the office, and I was like, I got to confirm
Got
this.
to confirm. Yeah, I think you were smart before the thing.
Yes.
Anyway, for those who don't know, that's in the quarter on, is it Royal? Charter Street.
Charter Street,
And not that this is important, but for years, that was one of my top. In fact, the very first chef I had on my show in 2000. And when we came back after Katrina, when I first redid the show, he was the first one back. His name is Scott Boswell. Scott had a worldly acclaimed restaurant called Stella there. Very upscale, but really phenomenal. And then he opened, when the second appearance, he was opening his diner kind stuff right on the Jackson Square called Stanley. Well, he eventually shut it down. It got too much for him. And then this gentleman came in and took it over. And he's doing predominantly southern type food, I think, but more southern than New Orleans.
Southern local
or mixing
food.
it too
Yeah.
in New Orleans, yes.
Yeah.
So if you haven't tried it, which I haven't, I recommend it because, first of all, I like it because it's 3 dining rooms and very intimate, very quiet. You know, it's not. Unfortunately, our restaurants have gotten to be, everybody, Galtoirs is so successful. We all need to emulate. We got to have a lot of noise, nothing to soften. It's got to be a big bunch of people, and it gets old.
Sure.
It gets old, especially when they all look alike. The bar's on one side, the table's there,
Right.
and it's just constant noise. So even though I understand it, everybody wants to see, everybody wants to be a part of it, to me, there's nothing better than an old-time, quiet, intimate restaurant where the food is great. So he's got the ambiance, definitely. I haven't tried his food.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the last one on the top right.
Oh, so the last one on top right is, if you're familiar with the Shreveport area, that is Blake Jackson out of Shreveport.
This is going to be tough. And I'll tell you a little story after that, and then we got to go to break.
Sure.
All right, so tell us about Blake Jackson.
He actually has his own catering business called Drake Catering. So,
Drake?
Yes, Drake.
Named after the rock star, whatever.
The
hip-hop
the rapper.
Star? Yeah, the rapper, whatever.
We'll have to ask.
Very trendy, very trendy. Now, I'm going to put a negative, even though it's not directed toward Blake.
Sure.
Years ago, right after Katrina, one of my favorite little restaurants on St. Charles changed hands as they always do, and it was an Italian place called Rigatoni's, where the people were actually from I forgot what city, not the main city. Anyway, one of the port cities. Phenomenal food. And then they gave up the ghost after about 10 years, and this gentleman, and the name of the restaurant, I think the name of the family was Monjuni, Monjuni, which was Italian family in Shreveport. So successful, they have like 2 or 3 restaurants.
Oh, wow.
Well, the problem is, they took, and it's on St. Charles, so it's a pretty good location.
Yeah.
And they just thought Shreveport food is going to be immediately accepted by Orleans. And I tried to explain to him, it's not a two-way street.
Sure.
Because we have had several New Orleans restaurants go up there and be very successful.
Sure.
And rightfully so, because it's such a difference.
Right.
But the type of food you're bringing, I mean, I don't want to talk badly about the gentleman, I really don't, but it was just super ordinary. I mean, almost like canned gravy. It just wasn't. So unfortunately, he lost everything in about a year or so. He had to pack up his things, and he had all these wonderful accolades on the wall showing how well he did in Shreveport, which he did. So, and we're hoping that's many years ago. That's in the 80s. No, that was 90s. So I'm hoping that Blake is going to really turn up to show us that Shreveport can cook now.
I think so. I think he
Excellent.
might have what it
Well, what we're
takes.
going to do, folks, it's time for our break. We haven't finished. We'll come back and we'll show our last 2 chefs. We're sorry that we couldn't get them in this segment. And then we'll wrap it up and say goodbye to this young lady and get once more specifics about the event. So go ahead and watch these commercials or listen to them, and we'll see you in a little bit. Okay?
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
There's soul food, and then there's food for the soul. At a time where we live to eat, the Praline Connection restaurant serves up recipes that reach back into days long gone. You know, the kind of meals your mama cooked up for Sunday dinner. Fried chicken with macaroni and cheese and candied yams, homemade meatloaf with garlic mashed potatoes and string beans, or Nolan's filet gumbo. That's the real soul you get only at the Praline Connection restaurant. located at the corner of Charters and Frenchman Street in the Maroney.
Hi, this is Jill Samuels with Faith That Works. Join us every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time and 12 noon on New Orleans Talk Network as we change the lives of people with the Word of God by equipping the body of Christ to evangelize the world while reconciling people back to God. Let us continue to carry the water to the desert because Jesus is the living water.
Stop this hauling water to the sea.
Join in on Mondays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for Breaking the Silence with Dr. Patricia Fry. There are no limitations or boundaries. We talk about life, and guess what? That includes you. So download the app today, New Orleans Talk Network, and subscribe on YouTube. That's every Monday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. New Orleans Talk Network, Breaking the Silence with Dr. Patricia Fry.
Nobody gives you better conversation about your quality of life.
Let everyone know you listen to
The New Orleans Talk Network.
That's right, the lady misread. And you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network. I tell all our hosts, please tell those people we're watching the New Orleans Talk Network, not listening, or not only just listening. We're back here, Bob's Variety Hour, wrapping it up today. We've been really privileged to have Miss Samantha Ozer, who is the conference manager of the Farm and Table Conference, and specifically the subset, the event that's drawing all the people and gives a chance for a lot of the natives and all to come, which we love to do, sample food from 10 finalist chefs, and that's called a Chef Challenge. So we're running through the finalists, so you get a little advanced knowledge in case you get interested. You'll already know, oh, that's Blake from Shreveport, or that's the guy from Hawaii. So you'll have some advanced knowledge of who's who, even though you'll get a chance to meet them up front at their table station when you're actually getting your dish that you're trying. Okay, we've got two more, as we mentioned. They're on the bottom photos, folks, so we're going to go left to right on your screen. Who's that lovely person on the left?
All right, so we have another lady chef. So her name's quite interesting, and I'm going to try to pronounce this without butchering it too bad.
Here we go. Drum roll.
So she is Ulfet.
Ulfet?
Ulfet, Ozzy as Belegal, Ralph.
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 Okay.
We'll just call her Chef Ralph.
Chef Ralph. Yeah.
But she's originally from Turkey.
Turkey.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful food.
Yes. No, she's European flavors and stuff.
Now, where is she currently situated?
Is residing in Little St. Simon, Georgia.
Oh.
State of Georgia.
That is supposed to be. Is that an island? I know, I've heard of it.
It is an island.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a resort area. So
yeah.
Neat. I wonder, I guess maybe she's interesting how she would be drawn over there. And what's the name? Is she working at a hotel, a restaurant? Or?
I believe it's at a restaurant, and it's actually called Little St. Simon Island. It's easy to remember. Right?
Easy, yeah. If you're going to the destination, you got to go to the restaurant.
Yeah.
So good. So we have two lady chefs this year. Right?
Two of them.
Excellent,
yes.
Excellent. 2 out of 10, 20%. We're picking it up. Okay, last but not least, as we always say.
Yes, of course. So then we have from South Beach, or Miami, Florida.
There's another one. How does he?
I know.
Ooh,
James
boy.
Versfeld.
Wow, that's so wonderful that they would make their commitments, under these circumstances, especially him.
Well, we're watching him pretty closely in the hurricane that's kind of in that direction, so we're working with him pretty closely.
Yes, he's going to have to come early.
I know. We'll see. It's Wednesday, so hopefully he'll make it to New Orleans.
Yeah, I don't think he can take a last-minute flight that morning.
All
right,
we'll see.
Where is he working? What's the name?
He is at I believe Shelbourne Hotel. They're in South Beach.
Shelbourne Hotel.
Yes.
So he's one of the only ones that representing a hotel, huh?
He is, actually.
To me, that's a big challenge. I mean, I love to see that when a hotel can turn out a decent restaurant. In the old days, the restaurant related to the hotel was strictly last resort. Might be first resort in the morning because you can't function well to go anywhere.
Sure.
But usually for lunch or dessert or dinner, you went elsewhere because it just was, the food was so mean. And it's a shame because these chefs many times have the same training that a restaurant chef would have.
Sure.
But just didn't have, whether it's the ability for the produce, like farm to table, or just not able to have the selection of ingredients, or the seasoning of the have to be too bland for the general community. So I'm hoping he really represents a hotel, because I'm always pulling for the hotel chefs because they just don't get the recognition. They're always blamed for the convention food. They use that as their moniker. Oh, you know.
Yeah, produced for the masses. Well, I'm confident James cooks fantastic food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to do one last thing. We're going to recap. Now, don't bear with us, because, you know, we've gone through a lot of stuff here. Again, I'm going to let Samantha take the rest. She's going to start with the name again, registration, abilities, time, and event. So let's hit it, and then we'll tell them all goodbye.
All right. So Chef's Taste Challenge. Registration will open up at 6 p.m.
At the Convention Center.
At the Convention Center in the Great Hall.
The Great Hall. There you go, folks.
Yes.
I mean, that's the key, because that's a big place, and
Yes.
you certainly don't want to go to the wrong end.
No, it's a long walk.
So-
It's near the Julia Street entrance.
Closer to Julia Street entrance. Very right.
Save you a few steps.
Registration time?
Registration will open up at 6, and then at 6:30, VIP doors open.
Ooh. Now, what are the, we didn't talk about it, but I don't want to get too much, but what's more to the VIP for those who might want to be able to afford a few dollars more?
Yeah, so
what do they get?
There's actually 2 tiers of VIP.
Oh, my Lord.
So VIP is not only do you get early access to the dishes and stuff, but you also, get the complimentary wines reception, as well as the wine pairings and beer and stuff. But you get a reserved table. The first tier is actually a reserved table on the show floor.
On the floor.
And then the next level up is actually a reserved table near the judges and up on a riser and stuff.
Okay,
So
well,
a
again,
little bit more
you can
exclusive.
investigate that online. And now, what's online for registration or information? What's that website? That's a tough.
chefstastechallenge.com.
That's plural chef, plural taste, singular challenge. Right?
Yes, yes.
So go there. You can learn all about what we're talking. Probably see a lot of these pics, and register if you like. If not, wait for registration. Okay, so the event starts at 6:30. You have that complimentary wine, no matter what level of registration.
Correct.
And you can drink to your heart's content until the actual 7 o'clock. Then you got to get in line, folks.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's going to be so. Whether you go with the smallest line or go with your favorite chef, after you've heard us and seen
That's
the thing,
true.
maybe you want to say, "Hey, I really would like to try that Hawaiian or that gentleman from Shreveport, or our local. Pick our local, which will probably be popular."
Sure.
So you go there, get your dish, go eat it, and you go back from whichever ones you want to participate in.
Keep going back for more.
Keep going back for more. And during that time, you can, once again, drink more wine or beer.
Yes, by Lazy Magnolia.
Wow. And that goes on to 9 o'clock, and that's when doors close out?
That's actually when voting ends, and then
Okay.
we'll announce our winner a few minutes shortly after that. Winners, yes.
And remember, folks, there's an overall champion, there's a runner-up, whatever you call it, and then who takes their place. Anyway, and lastly is your fan favorite for those who are not too bleary-eyed, that can actually fill out the voting registration.
Yes.
All right, anything else you want to say except for, we're so glad you've been here.
Yeah, the only thing I want to mention is that the next day we have a free festival, same place. Yes,
That's
a free
the Jamboree.
festival.
I
That's
heard
the Jamboree. Yes.
And what? Real quick, again, we have moments.
Yeah.
But what happened? So that's same place.
Same place,
What
Julia
time?
and Convention Center. It starts at 11. We have Zumba at 10, actually, and it goes to about
Not my
7
cup of tea.
p.m.
Okay, after Zumba. So what time does the event start after Zumba?
At 11 o'clock.
11, and that goes to when?
About 7 o'clock.
7 at night.
yeah.
And what's going to go on there real quick?
Music, so we have like Mark Broussard coming.
Oh, great.
We have local vendors like American Sector,
so
Sylvain
actually
and stuff.
selling their wares, so
Yeah,
you can buy
selling-
some of the food from typical,
our
so just
local
like
vendors.
a festival.
Yeah, just like a festival.
Perfect.
Yes, which we all know and love.
So the Jamboree. So folks, if you can't make Friday for whatever reason, try it Saturday, because then you can buy whatever you want or whatever you don't want, but enjoy our music like we always do,
It's all
and sample
free.
our wear. Again, All right, we're going to tell Miss Samantha goodbye and thank her again, and thank Rose, please, for us. And we want to tell you, remember, next week, folks, assuming Irma doesn't close the station, we've got Talk to the Tarot. And the reason why I say that is because the tarot reader is coming in from San Diego. She wants to be live and in person. She's been Skyping all these months, and she's so excited. So we want you to stay tuned. We already got, in fact, we're doing 3 readings to expedite it, to make sure that we take advantage of her. And you can call in and try and get a reading if any of those don't show up, because sometimes, especially we got people from all over the nation calling in for this next week. So tune in next week, Wednesday at 8. Hopefully we'll be here with Talk to the Tarot. Have a good week, and prayers and good luck, and let's move that Irma over, huh? Take care.
Bye.